Without wasting much time, I just invite another student, Miss Sanghvi. Sanghvi, if you are there, can you please unmute yourself and turn your video on?
My video is on, if you can see it.
Yeah, we can, Sanghvi.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, sir. My name is Chug Singh, and I'm pursuing MCA from Amity University, Patna. And sir, I'm really very inspired by your words, and I'm very glad that I'm here and I can ask a question from you. So my question is, mental health has been one of the major concerns these days, and researchers show that it has been degraded in the period of lockdown to a very low level. So what do you feel about it, and what according to you are the main reasons for this?
Well, Sanghvi, I think that sometimes when we see hopelessness around us, it impacts us mentally. And therefore, how do we make sure that we truly believe and are optimistic about human life itself and what the world has to offer to us? And it is not difficult for us to recognize and understand that, particularly over the last several months, it has been very, very difficult for many of us. I think one thing which I'd like to share with you, and I know that many people would have shared this with you already, but sake of repetition, I still want to, is that true happiness doesn't come from the outside. True happiness comes from within. And I think when we start chasing happiness outside and we find that that happiness is not really coming the way it was, it impacts us mentally. So I think the first thing is to recognize that happiness is within us. We control our own destiny. Whenever you have a very difficult problem facing you, the answers lie within yourself. You may listen to anyone. A lot of people may give you counsel, but you know that at the end of it, you will dive deep within to look for the answer. So I'd say that I'm not surprised because many of us love the external world. We are dependent on the external world. Many of us, and you would have seen this as well, when they are jogging or when they are walking and they are alone, they can't be alone. They're listening to music, they're doing something because they're just not able to converse with themselves. So I think it's very, very important for us to learn that let's start talking to ourselves. Let's start making sure that we look for answers within us. And the fact is, when you look for answers within you, you will always hear an optimistic answer that life will be good, things will be good. Temporary phenomenon happen. They always have. They've happened in different ways. And I've seen it in my career many, many times. You go through ups and downs, and there are many shocks, many surprises, many failures. And I think we just need to learn to deal with them. And I'll tell you a true story, Sanghvi. I mean, I like to tell stories. So many years ago, I was in Calcutta, and and we were in sales. So one day there was a very big deal, which one of my colleagues was pursuing, and he had lost the deal. And the deal was very important for our business. I mean, if he had won the deal, our revenue would have doubled. So I remember very distinctly, in those days, offices did not have air conditioning. We used to keep our windows open and hope that the cool breeze, would keep us going. Or we had maybe a couple of coolers or something like that in office. So it was early in the morning. It was around 8:30, 8:45. My colleague walked into office. Our boss was already there. And he had this wonderful habit where he would open the windows when he would come into office so that the fresh air would come in. So he was opening the windows, and my colleague went up to our boss and said that, "Boss, I have some terrible news to share with you." So boss casually looked at him and said, "Yes, Mr. Banerjee, tell me, what is it?" And he said, "Sir, we have lost this huge deal that we were pursuing, and we were really hoping to bring it in to double our revenues." My manager looked at my colleague and saw he was totally crestfallen. He was devastated. I don't think he slept in the night. He just somehow reached office. He wanted to tell the boss, and he just wanted to say that, "I don't know where I went wrong, but something has happened." And, almost like the end of the world was written on his face. My manager, as I said, was opening the windows. He looked up at the sky and he said, "Mr. Banerjee, you know what? The sky is still there. It has not fallen. Now go back to your table and let's work on the next deal. And it was the end of it. Just a very simple statement. He never got in and started saying, oh, I need to put you through an investigation. This is terrible. I don't think I can keep you on the team anymore. I will throw you out. None of that. He was very normal, very casual. And in just a few seconds, he was able to dissipate the situation. And then my colleagues sat back on the table. We were all there. We all came in. And we all put our arms around him and said, oh, no problem. Let's work together. We are one team. Let's go make the next deal happen. It's okay. We will learn, right? We will find time, but today is not the day. We will dissect. We will try and figure out. We will analyze. We need to, so that it helps us in the future. So Sanghvi, the message is that mentally we get disturbed. Many of us in our lives, in our careers, but we must remember that true strength lies within. At the end of the day, things always turn out well. That transaction may not happen. That specific interaction may be negative. You can't reverse that. But going forward, you can improve your own lot and improve the lot for everyone else. And I'll never forget what the manager said. It stayed with me. And this is a conversation which I recollect from the early 80s. So you can imagine, how old this conversation is, but it stuck in my mind that whenever I feel that the world is coming to an end, I look up and I remember my boss's words, the sky has not fallen.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with her answer. It was such an inspiration to hear that.
Thank you, Sanghvi, and all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Without wasting much time, I just invite another student, Miss Sanghvi. Sanghvi, if you are there, can you please unmute yourself and turn your video on?